So the Fever need to do everything they can, everything humanly possible to keep Ari McDonald. And look, I don't know if Ari McDonald is going to be this unbelievable player for them, but I think that when she comes in, she can play beside Caitlin Clark. And yeah, I think there are a lot of good players. I genuinely do think there are a lot of good players out there that can come in at that backup point guard role. But do you want to know what the most important thing is? Like that we've seen her. Like everything else is a risk. Any other player the Fever bring in is a risk. There always is going to be some sort of a risk there. But in my opinion, Ari McDonald has already shown enough. Like without Ari McDonald, they don't win that game yesterday. They get blitzed without Ari McDonald. Like they were 17-10 down. They looked flat. They looked dead. Ari McDonald comes in, actually runs the one. Yeah, is she a good shooter? No. She's not a good shooter, but you just need energy. You just need a better version of what Erica Wheeler was last year. To just come on, full court press somebody, piss them off, and make some passes. And she plays faster than Erica Wheeler. She's a better version of what Erica Wheeler was last year. And in fairness, I can see why Erica Wheeler was rated so highly after watching how she did with Seattle, but she probably wouldn't have done that with the Fever. But there's a very obvious player that the Fever need to cut, and it's Bree Turner. She's just not very good. Like, Bree Turner is coming off a 1 point per game season and is averaging like a third of a point per game. She has 1 point on the season. She has 1 point on the season. She can't, like, when she's on the floor, teams literally don't guard her. And it's not like, oh, they guard her softly. No, they don't guard her. They don't guard her. They just run a sweeper. They play with a sweeper when she's on the floor. If she cannot shoot, like, she can't shoot. She can barely score layups, if we're being honest. And her defense has been fine. And I mean that when I say fine. I don't think she's been a good defender so far. She was a real good defender at some stage in her career, but she's not a good enough defender to be on the floor right now. It's as simple as that. Bree Turner is not a good enough defender to be on the floor. She was terrible in Chicago. She's been terrible in Indiana. And look, seems like a nice person. She's just not very good at basketball. Well, she's just not very good in comparison to Ari McDonald. Because let's be real, these are WNBA players. They're all very good at basketball. But yeah, if you guys don't know when it comes to the Fever, so I just found this from her hoop stats. From it says here, lack of skill protection pertains to players who do not perform well enough to remain in the team. If a player with an unprotected base salary were cut, they would not earn any money for the remainder of the regular season, but a player with a protected contract would still receive either all or part of their main salary, as long as a player's level of play is not faltering due to certain off-court activities, including the use of prohibited substances or committing a felony. Players own a protected portion of their salary if they are cut based on performance. So if you look at the Indiana Fever salary, the protected contracts, Demiris Dantas is a protected contract. Obviously, they owe Katie Lure money. It's a given. They owe Katie Lure money. Caitlin Clark is unprotected. Aaliyah Boston's unprotected. Bree Turner is unprotected. Colson's unprotected. Cunningham's unprotected. And DeWanna Bonner's unprotected. Lads, this team is not going to cut. This team is absolutely not going to cut Sid Colson. And Sid Colson still has a role. For anyone talking about cutting Sid Colson because it's a like for like, I mean this. Sid Colson actually was all right yesterday. I don't think Sid Colson played bad yesterday. And yeah, I know she was a minus on the floor. I watched that game. Sid Colson was absolutely fine. She was fine. She was absolutely fine. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. She was fine yesterday. She was better yesterday than any time Bree Turner's been on the floor. Bree Turner's been terrible. She's been terrible all year. Cut Bree Turner. The ironic thing is, if you sign Ari McDonald to a minimum, if you cut Bree Turner, sign Ari McDonald to a minimum, it means you can bring in a top tier player in July. It means you can watch Eurobasket, see who the best players are, and try to bring in the best player there. Try to bring in the best player that you can from Eurobasket. It doesn't have to be a point guard. You got your backup point guard sorted. What does this team need realistically? Maybe a little bit of shooting. Lexi Hull's been killing it. Sophie Cunningham's been killing it. Maybe some shooting at the 4 position. That might be a thing. Like you can find You can find your Geisel Soder type players. You can find your Emily Engsler type players. Just as a kind of stretch fours, they're a little bit more mobile than Dantas. But Dantas has been exceptional. You can bring in somebody who is going to be a bench player, but may break in. But you can find the best players possible. You can genuinely find the best players possible. Like, it's not the hardest thing in the world to find some really, really good players in this league. Especially if you're looking at Eurobasket, because a lot of players are like going out of their way to come over now. Whereas a lot of these players were not coming over in the past. These players are all coming over right now, and you can get some really, really, really good players on the cheap. So yeah, it's an obvious one. It is an obvious one. You cut Bree Turner, you keep Ari McDonald, because that sorts out your backup point guard position. Coulson is not good enough to be a true backup point guard, but what Coulson is good enough for is she's good enough to be on the team. She's a good locker room presence. She can play, and as I've always said, if Coulson plans to play 4 minutes, she will put her body in the line for those 4 minutes. Coulson's a fantastic 4-minute-a-game player. A fantastic 4-minute-a-game player. Like, she can come in and just cause havoc. She can cause havoc in a couple of minutes. She can come in 4 minutes and get 2 steals while the ball handlers are trying to dribble past half court. She's that type of defender. She's a Pat Bev type player. And that is all I'm going to say. She's a Pat Bev. And everyone knows what I mean by that. But yeah, it is a really interesting one, because the Indiana Fever signing Aari McDonald, like, I'll admit that I was wrong. Like, I thought they should have, before the season started, I said they should have cut Sid Coulson for Aari McDonald. Before the season started. And then when I knew Coulson was going to be healthy, I'm like, I don't think Aari McDonald is the right point guard to play beside Caitlin Clark just because of her size. I knew she was a pest on defense. I didn't realize, like, she played like her life depended on it yesterday. She absolutely played like her life depended on it. And this is an Indiana Fever team that needed that. This is an Indiana Fever team that played slow. This is an Indiana Fever team that struggled quite a bit with the intensity of other teams. This is a Fever team, realistically, that has all the ability in the world to be a top team. And it's now just a case of you got to get in players to bring up the energy. And I think Coulson in limited minutes could have brought up the energy. Coulson could have pushed the tempo. Coulson could have been your super energy player. But the difference is that obviously I don't think Coulson is going to be able to do that in long stretches of time. Whereas I think Aari McDonald can play 27 minutes in any given game. She can play 27 when Caitlin Clark is not there, 20 with Caitlin Clark. Because when she was on the floor, Kelsey Mitchell was 100 times better. She was 100 times better when she's on the floor. And you even hear Stephanie White talking about it, about players needing to stop dribbling and all that. But yeah, it's a real interesting one. But I do think Aari McDonald was absolutely exceptional yesterday. Anyway, that is the video. Thank you guys for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe.